Hi, I'm Jester, and welcome to my first site review where I'll be reviewing my local site, Bunker31. I'd like to start off by saying everything mentioned in this series is my subjective view and down to my own preferences when it comes to sites. I'd like for you to come to your own opinions based on your own preferences, but I'll try to be objective where possible. Because Bunker31 is my local site, I may have biases as it's where I play most of the time. I know the marshals and most of the regular players. There's a couple of things that I need to say for Scotland as a whole before we get onto the site review. Bio-only BBs. Because of environment laws, outdoor sites in Scotland will have strict rules around this because all it takes is for the Environment Protection Agency to come along, notice someone's using non-bios, and your local site is slammed with a fine and a hefty couple $100,000 cleanup bill to pick up every BB from the ground. Don't be the dick that causes your local site to shut down permanently because it saves you a couple $100 on repairs. For pyro, now, I'm not too sure why Scotland is more prone to forest fires than England, but it's that time of year again. Don't assume you can use pyro at an outdoor site. Being the Ned that forced the game to stop because your £3 bang set fire to some leaves. It's embarrassing. Trust me, I've been there. So let's start with the first thing that you'll see. Car park, shop, and the porcelain throne. Bunker31's shop is stacked for a game day, selling snacks, drinks, BBs, pyro, and a small selection of riffs. Though the prices are noticeably higher than online vendors, it's still good in a pinch or if you're renting and haven't thought to buy ahead. The riffs are usually sold at a bit of a markup, which is expected. By no means am I saying that Bunker31 is price gouging. However, if you spent most of your airsoft budget for this month on that new KWA, then you may want to save some money by buying ahead of time. Bunker31 does not have the great invention the Romans brought to these islands, plumbing. Obviously, this means no tap water, so be sure to bring plenty with you or buy a bottle at the shop. Having spoken with the owner, he has had a water diviner round to check for water sources and is currently waiting on the estate to give permission for him to bore down to it to provide running water, although he did not give a timeline as to when this will happen. Bunker31's safe area is spacious and has plenty of picnic benches, with overhead cover to stop you either getting pissed on or suffering heat stroke. Though it can get a bit chilly in the winter months, so bring a hoodie or jacket then. No plumbing equals no porcelain throne. I'm sorry to get your hopes up over a proper John, however it is what it is. The portaloos on site are well maintained and well cleaned, though through the summer we all know those things become sweat boxes, broiling you in your own sweat as you drop the kids off at the pool. Getting to Bunker31 is pretty straightforward, taking no more than 20 minutes from Aberdeen city centre by car, and is signposted for the last mile or so. Though for the last 5 miles there's blind corners, narrow roads, and oncoming traffic. So be careful in case a John Deere comes and checks whether you're wearing a seatbelt. Bunker31 has a decent sized car park, but it is 130 metres from the safe zone. So the big decision here is whether to make multiple trips with your 16 cases of riffs, BBs, plate carriers, pyro, gas, mags, and several uniforms, or to lug it in one back-breaking walk. I have nothing bad to say about Bunker31's website. Everything is clear and straightforward, and the booking process doesn't leave much for misinterpretation. even allowing you to pre-order hot food, snacks, BBs, and pyro ahead of time. The only thing I wish all sites did was mention somewhere up front about a gate's open time. This particular gripe isn't with Bunker themselves, but quite a few sites don't mention this anywhere easily searchable. And one site has gone online ranting about people arriving early, despite them not having this on their website. Overall, I would give Bunker31 3 out of 5 porcelain thrones. Obviously, I can't expect the world from an airsoft site, but plumbing to provide tap water to prevent heat strokes and maybe some comparable quality alternatives to Vorsk BBs, which tend to be pricier anyway, would likely bump Bunker31 higher in porcelain thrones. And now for the play report. So Bunker31 has several maps, mostly favouring aggressive playstyles. Though some game modes, maps such as Castle and Chinook, can favour defensive playstyles. Due to the maps mostly being in woodlands, snipers and ghillies have scope for supporting either playstyle in the backlines. Though generally games tend to be decided within the first minute of play. Trenches is characterised by a no man's land, which is a box in the middle, with trenches on either side, to the east and west, with two communication trenches on either end, north and south, and a spawn trench, again, north and south. No Man's Land has 4 bunkers on each corner, and a load of cover to utilise. The trenches have 5 channel points. The trenches on the east and west, as well as 3 channel points in the centre. So each bunker you can climb over and end up going into one of the communication trenches. But there also you can go down the middle, which is the channel point in its zone. You need to play aggressively to capture any of these channel points, but if you lose any of them, you find that your team is on the back foot. There's tight corners, as you can see, but also long lines of sight where you can engage someone up to 30 meters, roughly. Although the West Trench does have cover halfway down, but that is not the same on the East Trench, which has divots inside where you can take cover. As far as I've seen, this is the only site in Scotland that has trenches, though I can be corrected on that. So Castle is a construction with 4 walls, with doors on each wall, and 2 to 4 windows on each wall, with built-out corners. The windows are great for shooting at cover out with the castle, but the opening is 2-way. There is a second level at the top, which is rarely used, only really used in the summer for health and safety. But it can be used to get an elevated position to shoot down at everyone that is approaching the castle. Engagements tend to be short range, and because of the built-out corners, there's dark corners where you can take cover and gain a protracted defense. And games tend to be fast-paced. Vietnam is an open clearing bordered on either side by woodland. The open clearing has bunkers, sand bunkers, but also micro-terrain where you can take cover. The map can lead to long-term engagements. Games can last about an hour. And the games tend to be more about persistence more than play style. If you manage to keep the energy high you tend to keep the game going and win. But if your energy drops off at any point, you're going to lose the game. Think of it more of a marathon than a sprint. Engagements tend to be long range. Village is built up of multiple buildings, houses, with a church tower. The buildings provide great cover and avenues of attack, and micro-terrain such as burns that cut through the sides of the maps. The church tower is the only place where you can probably get elevator position itself, being able to suppress further range than anybody else. Engagements tend to be either really short or really long range. Trespass seems to be built mostly for speed softers or speed games for paintball. There's plenty of cover in the middle. It seems to be more CQB style type of game. Although the only times that I played on it was an extension of Village, which tends to be favor to whoever is being pushed into Village. The lack of cover between Trespass and Village often leads to longer engagements. Because of this, even though the map is designed for short range, it ends up being a long range game. Chinook is characterized by a building built to look like a Chinook, with a wide open rampway into the Chinook itself, a side door and a cockpit, with plenty of terrain and barricades off to the east. I've only ever really played on it for an attack and defend game, and it really favors an aggressive playstyle whether you're defending or attacking. The engagements tend to be quite short range, however, I've seen some snipers get up to 80 meters on their range on there. Barrels is best described as a field of barrels stacked on top of each other. There is so much cover that sometimes it feels like it's obstructive to the push. And actually, if you're not aggressive from the start, straight away, in the first 30 seconds, you can find yourself almost being shot straight out of spawn, almost straight away. And the engagements tend to be stupid long, where I'm having to almost make my riff into a mortar in order to hit anybody. Overall, Bunker31 has a versatile range of maps with varying cover that brings a range of games to your game day. So for this reason, I'm giving Bunker31 4 bottle of BBs out of 5. And now for the vibe report. If you've been watching my channel, you'll know by now the marshals here are solid, and genuinely a good laugh. They care whether you're having a good time, and if you haven't seen the videos, I'll drop some clips of them over the course of tomfoolery. I've had instances where I'm setting a bad example, like me giving the finger to one of the rats when they got me out, in jest, as a laugh. But instead of getting too huffy or too big for their ego, they have a quiet word with me, knowing that it's banter between friends is just setting a bad example. The only thing I'll say about them is sometimes they're too eager to keep the peace, instead of sometimes putting their foot down. This really doesn't show until my next point, which in all honesty, they shouldn't have to deal with in the first place. As a whole, Bunker31's regulars are sound. They know how to have a good laugh, and are usually casual about a lot of things. Any frustration is usually brushed off quickly and doesn't stew for the rest of the day. This is Bunker 9 times out of 10. Ragers. We all see them, we all know them. Often more infamous than the phantom cheat everyone is looking for. Now, we're not going to name and shame Bunker's local rages. This isn't that sort of channel. However, wherever you go, if you have a slip of humor and offer someone out because you think they're cheating, if you start throwing a tantrum or just generally starting arguments, just know this: you're not vibing, bro, and you should sit in a corner and think on it. Don't get me wrong, I get frustrated and have suspicions over shots I've made. But to have that spew unfiltered in front of kids and rentals who just want to try the game out in a casual competitive setting is not the vibe. This isn't specific to Bunker. You'll see rages everywhere, but you should honestly have a look in the mirror. Though out of their control, the marshals don't tend to lock down overtly raging players. At least from what I can tell from the outside looking in. However, Bunker is solidly one of the best sites for vibes I've been to so far, landing them a solid 4 laughing jesters out of 5. Bunker31 is a solid all-rounder, fulfilling the needs of the players as best as it can, and run by people who have a genuine passion for airsoft and the local community. If you're in the Aberdeen area visiting, we can wholeheartedly recommend booking for a walk-on day here. You can book 3 months in advance on their website in the description below, and hopefully we'll see you there. You can also catch me at my Discord, also linked below. But for now, thank you for watching this train wreck of a video, and catch you in the field.